Hey y'all, Big Tim here. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Old School and Bass with Big Tim. So here we are, 2 years in a row. Count them two. 2 years in a row. Major League Fishing shocks the whole bass fishing industry this year by purchasing FLW Outdoors. A lot of people knew it was coming. It's been in the works for quite a while now. Basically since this time last year. Behind closed doors, there were talks and meetings happening. And finally pulled the trigger and got it done. So what does this mean? What does it, how is it going to affect us? And what's it going to mean to the rest of the industry? Well, as far as, let's just start from the top. They're going to change the FLW Tour a little bit. Now, I had already recorded this video once, actually twice, and had it edited and ready to upload. Had about 4 hours involved. Major League Fishing changed their mind about something. Originally, they were going to do 3 days of standard 5-fish limit tournament. Then they were going to do another 3 days of the catch, weigh, and release. And after they had a meeting with a lot of the anglers involved in the actual FLW Tour, they decided against that, and they're staying with the traditional 5-fish limit all 4 days, which is really cool. I like seeing the 5-fish limit. So they're really, truly, they're pretty much staying pat. They raised the entry fees a little bit. I think they raised them from $35,000 to $40,000, which is a lot. But they're promising triple the amount of airtime on TV. So sponsors should be all in for this. The other thing that they're going to change is there will be no more FLW Cup. Gone, sayonara, see you later, bye-bye. It is gone. What they're going to do instead, they're going to do an Angler of the Year tournament at the end of the year. You'll have to be qualified for it. So really and truly, they're kind of just changing the name from FLW Cup to the Angler of the Year tournament. So not much really happening there. I mean, not a lot of details. These are big details for the people involved, but there's only a few different things happening. So I think it's going to be a good thing for the FLW Tour. I love how the fact that, and I watched an interview with Boyd Duckett about what they were going to do with everything. And it was like an hour and 20 minutes long. And I watched the whole thing in its entirety. And I liked how he said that, he has an idea what he wants to do with everything, but the basic everyday rules are going to be left up to the anglers. He establishes a committee of anglers. I think it's like 10 for each division. And let them decide the rules that they want to live by. And I think that's a really cool idea. You don't have a dictator saying, this is the way it's going to be. So that's really neat. Like I said, they had originally intended to do a mixture of the formats, but they're sticking with 5 fish based upon what their population wanted to do. And that is super cool that that's the way they're looking at doing things. Now, the next circuit that FLW owns is the Costa Series. That's what we've known them for the past few years. They've been called the Everstarts. They've been called the FLW Series, and that's what Major League Fishing is going to call them, the FLW Series. So the FLW Series, the entry fees have been lowered a little bit. Over the past 4 or 5 years, FLW has raised the entry fees without raising the payouts for these guys. And that makes it kind of difficult. But Major League Fishing stepped in. The first thing they did was lower the entry fees. That's really cool. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to increase the amount of tournaments because they're raising the divisions from 5 to 8. So they're going to, add 9 more tournaments, I think that is. Yeah, 3 tournaments per division and 8 divisions. So that's pretty big. They're going to broaden the scope, allow more opportunity, and have a bigger presence out west too. So that's really, really neat. They're also, one of the things that a lot of people were upset about is the fact that the Costa guys are not going to get an opportunity to fish for the FLW Cup because there is no more FLW Cup. It's gone. They raised the purse for the end of the year Costa Tournament Championship, the Costa Championship. They raised the purse to winner gets $200,000 as opposed to $100,000. That's huge. You know, that's 200 grand for a AAA level event. Incredible payout. Yeah, we actually have the FLW Championship coming here to Kentucky, in 2 weeks. It'll be at Lake Cumberland. And, you know, there were a lot of people not happy about the fact that they can't advance to the FLW Cup, but I think another 100 grand really sweetens the pot. You know, that's a big deal. You know, one guy is going to walk away with 200 grand from winning this tournament, and that's more than you'd win in the FLW Tour event. That's pretty big. So good for those guys. Love to see what they're going to do at Cumberland. I've heard Cumberland's pretty tough. No, tough compared to the Ohio River, I don't think so, but it's fishing a little bit tougher than normal. You know, it's fall. That's going to happen. Cumberland is one of these lakes that's so deep and clear that it takes a long time for the water to cool off. I read the other day that the water was still in the 70s. You know, around here, the lakes, some of them are 58 to 65 degrees. It's a big difference, you know. So a lot of those fish are still in summer mode. They don't realize it's fall. Then, you know, the duration of the daylight hours, that indicates some to them. But if they're deep enough, they don't notice that much either. But anyway, that FLW Costa Series Championship, that's going to be pretty cool. I can't wait to see what happens there. I may even end up driving down to a weigh-in, maybe. Be a fun time. And then we also have the BFL, or Bass Fishing League. That's what the BFL stands for. The BFLs are also owned by FLW, and the first thing Major League Fishing did there was also lower the entry fees. For the past few years, FLW has raised the entry fees twice, I think it was, without raising the purse. And that was pretty bad. You heard me complain about it before. You know, one of my friends actually came in, I think it was 6th in one of the BFLs, and after paying a $300 entry fee, his gas in his boat and everything else, I think he walked away with like $700 or $800. He's breaking even with a $300 entry fee. Granted, I know $100 is not a ton more, but it is when you're talking about profit and loss. You know, making $50 after spending all the gas in your boat and everything else, that's a big deal. Of course, Uncle Sam likes to know about that $50, doesn't he? But I think that's a good thing. And like I said, I watched the whole interview with Boyd Duckett. He has a lot of ideas about what he wants to do and how it's going to be the feeder system for the Bass Pro Tour. And everything is a stair step. You know, from the BFLs, you get to step up to the Costas. From the Costas, you can step up into the FLW Tour. From the FLW Tour, you get an invite into the Bass Pro Tour. So they've got a real system established. They've put a lot of thought into it, and it's really neat. Now, one of the things they talked about was high school and college fishing. Now, while they didn't go into detail, because they're still working out details, Duckett did mention that he has every intention of greatly increasing their presence in high school and college fishing. He had something that he wanted to say, you could kind of tell in the interview, but he couldn't let the cat out of the bag yet because the details haven't been worked out. So that is going to be a big deal, I think. I think you'll see a lot more involvement in high school and college fishing. And that should be good all the way around. The last thing that's involved is the Bass Federation. You know, and I've been a member of the Bass Federation for years. In fact, this was the first year I didn't join. But the Bass Federation is not owned by FLW. They actually work in a partnership. And it'd be interesting to see how that partnership continues. I'd imagine almost nothing would change. I I looked at the Bass Federation's website. They're accepting membership dues already. It used to be in your membership dues was also included your FLW membership dues. I guess that'll stay the same. So I guess you're still including that. One of the other things that happened was we had the Bass Federation Championships. Now that's all done on the Bass Federation level. You know, all the local stuff is actually done locally. Then you go to a regional national semifinal. I said that wrong. A national semifinal, not a regional. A national semifinal. Basically 2 states involved. Here it happens to be Kentucky and Tennessee. And if you do well in that tournament, you advance to the Federation National Championship. Now all this is still done under the Federation umbrella. And like I said, it's its own entity. So that shouldn't change. From there, that's where things could change. If you won the Federation National Championship, you could advance to the FLW Cup. Well, that is no more. So we don't know what's going to happen with the overall winner. Maybe they'll send them to the Costa Championship. Not sure. 5 other guys, I think it was, got to advance to the BFL All-American. I imagine that'll stay the same, but I'm not sure. The biggest one that I have concern with is the Living the Dream package. If you won the if you won the Federation National Championship, you were given a truck, a boat, and $100,000 entries, or $100,000 to cover entry fees on the FLW Tour. That was huge. You know, that to me is the single easiest, least expensive way for a working man to be able to go pro. Now, once you're in the pros, you know, it's up to you. You can fish and earn money and go from there. But Mark Daniels Jr. actually came about this route. He won the championship, I think, in 2013. And, of course, now he's competing over on the Bass Pro Tour. So it's really quite an opportunity to establish yourself as a professional bass angler. So I'll be real interested to see how that works. Maybe nothing changes. I didn't see anything about it on the website. It looked all the same as it did in 2018, 2019. So I'm not sure if 2020 is going to change at all. You know, like I said, I did go through the website. I read a letter from Robert Cartledge, from the Bass Federation president. And basically he was outlining how things look to be business as usual. And hopefully I think that's what it's going to be. With some positive perks. So far, I have seen nothing that is negative about Major League Fishing purchasing FLW. Nothing. Well, not having the Forest Wood Cup, or the FLW Cup as it's been known. But, I mean, we're still going to have a tournament. It's just going to be not called the FLW Cup. It's going to be the Angler of the Year tournament. So there's really not a whole lot changing other than just some positive stuff. Lower entry fees, higher purses. It just seems, in a lot of ways, it seems too good to be true. Where's all the money coming from? Different things, but I love it. I think it's going to be a great thing. Now, I know in the past I've said my deal about Major League Fishing, and I stand by that. I've actually just watched the 3rd program the other day from the Bass Pro Tour. I'm still not impressed with it. I mean, it's fun to watch. I watch it, sure. But they really don't give anglers an opportunity to go in depth about how or why they're fishing a particular bait or lure. You know, what particular baits or lures are doing well for them and why. Areas of lakes. There's not much instruction. All it really is endless hook sets. And I realize that's kind of the way my videos are too. But it's hard to talk to a camera, you know, when you're by yourself. I've tried, and it's hard to talk to an inanimate object. It's like you're talking to yourself. But as far as their TV program goes, granted, I realize this is the first year, but I really can't tell the difference between the Bass Pro Tour and the Major League Fishing Selects or any of the other Major League Fishing events. It's hard to tell a difference, other than the fact that the pros are allowed to use their own boats on the Bass Pro Tour, whereas in the selects, they're in, you know, the small little 150 powered nitros or Bass Cats or whatever else. So I would like to see some changes there. I would like to see at least segments, you know, like Bass has Taste the Bait. You know, talk about the different baits that these guys are using. Talk about the locations that they're fishing. Get a little bit more in depth. You know, Marty Stone and JT Kenny, they're a wealth of knowledge, but they're really not utilizing any of that. And they should. These guys know they fished. And they understand what's going on. So I'd like to see the Bass Pro Tour, particularly the TV show, utilize the knowledge that they have behind the desk as, you know, to say something more than, oh yeah, the weather's blowing, everybody has an opportunity for the same thing, or whatever. Let's talk about baits. Let's talk about why they're fishing an area, everything else. Now, granted, they do tiny talk about, you know, the area he's fishing in, but they don't go in detail. Now, granted, I don't want to know what creek he is. I know a lot of people do. But like when I watch these shows, I watched the one with Andy Morgan. They're fishing Chickamauga. I'm looking and I've noticed how many people are fishing rock bank with shade over top. Or like in Jared Littner's case, he looked like he was fishing a lot of the causeways, the ripraps. And those are the things you need to make note about. You know, this is spring. These places seem to be drawing bass. But anyway, I know, I digress. I'm more wanted to talk about the purchase of FLW. So if you haven't noticed already, I have a cold. And it's hard for me to keep getting breath. It's hard to breathe. And while I always do have problems breathing, my nose isn't too many issues I've had there over the years. You'll notice I breathe a lot through my mouth, and it's hard when you're trying to talk to breathe through your mouth and have a video. But anyway, thanks for watching. Tune in. We'll have some more stuff for you coming up soon. We got a lot of cool ideas that we're going to do over the winter time. Hopefully, we're going to get out and do a trip or two to Cumberland. Different things really coming down the pipe that I'm real excited about. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.